SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
State Treasurer David McRae is returning record amounts of money to Mississippians, whether it's through the College and Career Savings Program or the hundreds of millions in unclaimed money awaiting your claim. Treasurer David McRae says get your applications and claims in today. Treasury.ms.gov.
This is Gerard Gibert, and thank you for listening to MidDays here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
MidDays with Gerard Gibert is on the air. MidDays with Gerard Gibert is powered by C-Spire. Power your home or business with C-Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C-Spire. C-Spire Fiber powers SuperTalk Mississippi. Get ready to go beyond the headlines and join a meaningful conversation with people from around the state. You're listening to MidDays with Gerard Gibert here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Midday SuperTalk Mississippi. I'm your host, Gerard Gibert, on location on the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast, specifically at the Biloxi Town Green, with an incredible view of the Gulf of America. Rhino, safe and sound, back in the SuperTalk headquarters. We'll be guiding you through the middle of your day with facts, fodder, and fine music on this Hump Day. It's day 2 of Cruisin the Coast for SuperTalk Mississippi. Moss Point yesterday, Biloxi today, and let me tell you, Rhino, this place is packed. I don't remember seeing it quite this crowded in years past. And Ricky Matthews and I were just discussing that it appears the vehicles are parked in a more tighter fashion, just less room between the vehicles. And I think that's because there's just so many of them. And they are absolutely gorgeous. The sun is beaming overhead. We got the iconic SuperTalk logo tent over our heads, shielding us from that sun. We're right across the street here at the Biloxi Town Green from the Hard Rock Casino. And I can see it just off of my back. You can probably see it on our video feed. But we're all set, good to go. Big day playing here in Biloxi. We got Commissioner Sean Tyndall. He'll join us in the next segment. And then we've got John Ferris. He's the lead singer of British Media, a Beatles tribute band. He's going to call in at 10:35. Woody Bailey, you know who he is, the executive director of Cruisin the Coast at 11:05. We're going to have a Cruisin attendee join us also in hour 2. Patty Megger, Director of Communications and Engagement, Coastal Mississippi. After that, Jamie Miller, CEO of the Gulf Coast Business Council. He kicks off hour 3 of the program. Tessie Lambert, Chief Marketing Officer for Lodging and Leisure Investments. And then Senator Scott Delano wraps up middays for us at 12:35. That's what our jam-packed schedule looks like today. If you're in the area, come by and see us. You can't miss us on the Biloxi Town Green. We're not far from the Hurricane Katrina Memorial. And, in fact, I'm looking directly at where we're staying for our visit at the Hotel Legends, which is on, of course, Highway 90 Beach Boulevard. So just a beautiful day, and lots of people enjoying themselves as they take in the scenery of these classic automobiles. Most of them, of course, from the golden era of automobile making in this country. Lots of Fords and Chevrolets and Chryslers and Dodges. A few GMCs sprinkled in there as well. And this was, Rhino, of course, back in the days when GM had all the various lines. They still do, but they don't seem to be as pronounced as they were. Buick, Pontiac, because we don't make Pontiacs anymore, right? That went bye-bye. And, of course, Chevrolets, Cadillacs. Really cool. I got in last night, went down the beach, did my walk, and came back to the Hotel Legends. And parked right there in front in the breezeway was, I believe it's a 1964 Lincoln Continental. Absolutely gorgeous. Black, and I don't even remember them making those vehicles in but 2 or 3 colors. Black, I know, is the one you saw the most. I remember them from when I was a kid, and that's the one that had the doors, 4-door, of course, but the rear doors open opposite than the front doors. And kind of rode a little low to the ground as the B-52s Love Shack song. You remember the lyrics from that? I got me a Chrysler. It's as big as a whale. This thing is as big as a whale, but it was absolutely gorgeous. Oklahoma plates on it. All the way from Oklahoma, they drove that thing. And, I mean, absolutely flawless condition. Really a beautiful vehicle. All the way here to Biloxi to showcase their pride and joy. That's where we are. So, well, the federal government shutdown grinds into a second week, but there are rumors that they're talking are the members of Congress behind the scenes to try to get this thing back open is starting to cause some problems that you may have seen, in particular some delays perhaps in air travel in this country. That's causing some problems. Air traffic controllers, I should say, calling in sick. Thin air traffic staffing during this shutdown period, and that is causing some delays at U.S. airports. Over 8,000 flights in and out of U.S. airports were delayed because of these staffing shortages in air traffic control. That was yesterday. The system is showing signs of stress just a week into the federal shutdown. Monday and Tuesday, a whole bunch of flights delayed. I guess it's 9,000. I said 8. It's 9,000 flights over the 2-day period. That's still a whole bunch, though. That's according to flight data specialist Flight Aware. Staffing shortages at air traffic control facilities across the country. Well, authorities are reviewing that and looking to slow the number of flights that can take off and land. So they're looking to curb air traffic to deal with this situation where we don't have enough air traffic controllers. So that's a problem. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, he said a couple of days ago that the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, noted a, quote, slight tick up in air traffic control workers requesting sick leave. He said you can expect to see delays that come from that. This was during a press conference he conducted at Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey. If we think there are issues in the airspace, we will shut it down. So the Secretary, of course, prioritizing safety over everything else for the air traveling public, and that is absolutely the correct thing to do. Of course, when he got on board, he was exposed to archaic systems. It's really embarrassing, the systems and the age of those systems that we use to run the air traffic control system in this country and to control air traffic. I mean, diskettes, updating systems on old machines using diskettes, this is insane. Billions of federal dollars have been kind of slow making their way into the system to modernize and upgrade. And I dare say this would probably reduce the pressure somewhat on the air traffic controllers if they had more modern systems at their disposal. So this is a problem that's starting to crop up, and we'll see kind of how that will affect the public's perspective of this shutdown. On the C Spire text line, I just flew to Montana this past week, had no issues, zoomed through security, no delays whatsoever. Carolyn in Tupelo, I think, though, that was if you're talking about this week, as in the week we're currently in, I think it really just depends on the airports through which you were traveling. Carolyn, appreciate your update. But this is official. It's good to know that you didn't have any delays or problems, but this is the official statement I just shared with you from the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy. So, good. Yeah. Those doors that open the way I described them in kind of opposing fashion, they're called suicide doors. That's right. I forgot about that. Suicide doors. Thanks for that update. Thomas in Greenwood says we need to privatize the ATC. I wouldn't have a problem with that whatsoever. There's a lot of other things I think we ought to privatize as well, and we should be looking for opportunities to do so. We'll get to it later, but the president has said he's going to divert tariff revenue to funding the women's, infant, and children's programs, the so-called WIC program. It's not exactly as it seems, because you're just really kind of shuffling the cards on the table there. You're not really producing any additional money. There's no surpluses being produced from that. Still have massive deficits to the tune of $2.2 trillion in a year. So just means we're borrowing money to pay for other services. Really nothing there. But there are a lot of complaints about that program under pressure because of the government shutdown. We're coming right back with the Commissioner of Public Safety, Sean Tyndall. Stay with us. We're at Cruisin the Coast.
From the Seabrook.
This segment of Middays with Gerard Gibert is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Come on. Middays with Gerard Gibert.
All right, we are back
on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
She's real fine, my 409. She's real fine, my 409, my 409. Well, I saved my pennies.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays, where we have relocated the Element Wealth Studio to the Biloxi Town Green on Highway 90 here, and we are surrounded, totally engulfed by a sea of these classic vehicles. They're here, of course, for the big Cruisin the Coast event, and it is a big one, and we welcome now the Commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Public Safety, Commissioner Sean Tyndall. Commissioner, good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Glad to be here this morning, Gerard.
Man, this is incredible. The weather is cleared off, and I was just remarking to Ricky Matthews, helping him close his show up, that these vintage vehicles with these finishes on them, they don't paint cars like that anymore, do they? And the sun just has them sparkling, gleaming.
It is unbelievable. If you've never been down here, come check it out. If you love old cars, definitely come check it out. If you don't, you'll fall in love with them once you get here.
No doubt. And it's always interesting to just mingle around the folks that own these vehicles. These are their babies, man. They're passionate about it, and you can see the pride shining through because of the condition these old vehicles are in. It's amazing.
Look, we walked past a Mercedes down there that was worth about $1 million. That was 1934, I guess. And then I'm looking at a station wagon. Looks like one I grew up in as a kid, and it's probably $50,000.
That's incredible. All right, so to what extent does the Department of Public Safety participate in this event, Commissioner?
Well, much like any events across the state, we try to work with our local law enforcement to make sure that we have troopers and CTED and other officers out assisting with traffic and trying to make sure that everything stays orderly. And so we coordinate with our local law enforcement. In fact, I'll be meeting with the sheriff and chiefs for lunch here in a little bit to talk about some of that and other things. But it's a coordinated effort, and DPS and our folks at Highway Patrol and CTED do a great job coming out trying to assist with traffic control. Just last night we had two guys drag racing on Highway 90, got in a bad wreck. One of them's pretty injured, could have killed a lot of people, and it's just not the place for that. If you've got a beautiful car, don't risk messing it up in this type of crowded event.
Yeah, because we should point out there are viewers, the audiences of people, right, fans of these vehicles lining Highway 90 and along the route here in lawn chairs just beyond the sidewalk there. But you get going at a high rate of speed, you're not beyond jumping the curb there, right?
That's right.
And taking some just people just watching.
And unfortunately, we've had some very tragic results, resulting in death with people making bad decisions. And when you do that, you open yourself not only up to the civil side of it, but also criminal prosecution. So, again, this just isn't the place for that. We have a drag strip on I-10 in Gulfport. If you want to do that, it's open on Saturdays. Knock yourself out.
That's exactly right. A little more controlled environment there that's purpose-built for that. Well, give us an update on public safety, Department of Public Safety. What's going on with you guys these days?
Well, we've been real busy. We've been hitting 82 counties in 82 days, and today, of course, I timed it perfect. We got Harrison and Stone County, and we'll be at 72 and 73. So we're wrapping it up, and it's been very eye-opening to talk to sheriffs and chiefs across the whole state and get feedback from them on what we can do better as an agency, what we need to look at as far as public safety regulations and laws across the state.
What's the message exactly?
It's been some common themes. You know, we've got a lot of issues, I think, with mental health in Mississippi, and it falls on the back of law enforcement when they're having to deal with folks that are in mental crisis. Juvenile crime's a big issue, and trying to make sure that we do something about the rampant juvenile and violent crime that we're seeing in juveniles. And so those are two things that law enforcement's involved with, but we really can't just rely on law enforcement to deal with it. It's medical, it's family oriented. There's a whole host of issues that go along with it. Drugs is a big thing, and really a lot of the neglect we see with these juveniles, a lot of the mental issues that we see, all revolve around drug use and illegal drugs and narcotics that have been making their way into this country across the porous border that we had, and just infecting and inflicting families from one end of the state to another.
So, Commissioner, there have been some reports the last week or so about the increase in the THC levels in marijuana, and unfortunately the use of marijuana is on the rise, especially among our youth. So the combination of increased use and increased potency of the drug, now there are reports saying that a large number of them are getting behind the wheel and driving.
Look, it's just, in my mind, very inappropriate for young people, 21 and under, 25 and under, to be using that substance, even medically, unless it is absolutely needed for some sort of advanced treatment. And unfortunately, it's just gotten the reputation of being a harmless drug, and it's not. If you look at the long-term effects on minors in particular, their brains aren't fully developed, and they have long-term lasting effects that often lead not only to other drug problems as a gateway, but also just their mind is not developed and the impact it has on them as adults. So I hope we'll take a deeper look at it and try to do something not only with the medical side of it when it comes to young people, but also what we're seeing with the hemp and the THC levels that you're finding at these gas stations and the vape stores. And we're trying to get it out. I mean, it's gone out that you can't have that substance if it's for human consumption, but it's still a battle.
Yeah. I know you have been heavily involved in spearheading efforts to improve the systems that the DPS uses to increase the customer experience, improve the customer experience for Mississippians that deal with DPS for their driver's licenses and other matters as well. Give us an update on that.
Well, you know, driver service is doing great. Still, you're about 20-minute wait time compared to 3 hours 5 years ago. So we're, again, trying to grow our digital infrastructure, and that allows people to go online and do a lot more things instead of having to come into the station. And by doing that, those that do have to come into the station don't have to wait quite as long. So using technology as our friend. But we're not just doing that in driver services. We're trying to do that in our investigations. I just met with the colonel of NBI and talking to the director of NBN about buying different technologies that will help us in criminal investigations and crime scenes. And so really utilizing AI and technology to our benefit is a direction we want to go, and really for the future of our agency, trying to figure out ways that we can consolidate, share information, share resources better. We have 11 divisions at DPS. I really think we need about 3 or 4, and we could consolidate many of those so that they're operating together more efficiently.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, and I think the public is always excited to hear about consolidating government functions because they generally believe that means government's more efficient and we spend less money to produce the same output.
Well, and I think if we can save some money on the administrative side and push some of that down to the roadmen and the agents out in the field, we can offer them better salaries and we can have more of them.
Yeah.
And that's a better result for Mississippi as well.
And technology is key to that, is it not?
And technology allows you to do a lot more than we could do in the past. So we can do a lot more with 50 well-trained agents that understand and use technology than what you could do 30 years ago with 200.
We're about 3 months away from those wily legislators joining back up together under the dome. You're no stranger to that process. Anything in particular you're looking for, you're talking to our lawmakers about?
Well, one thing that I've seen across the state is law enforcement salaries and where we need to be. I was in Cleveland, Mississippi. Starting salary in Cleveland was $61,000 for a law enforcement officer there in the heart of the Delta. You know what they haven't had in Cleveland in 18 months? A homicide. And so, I think it's indicative of when you commit yourself to public safety with good salaries. They got 47 full-time officers, so they're fully staffed. The impact that can have on the community and the state. And so I'm going to go in and advocate for better trained law enforcement, better salaries, and more of them so that we can do our part to make Mississippi safer.
Talk about the Capitol Police and how that's been going.
It's been going great. Chief Lucky and his team have done a great job there. I won't say it was the nepotism for what Trump has done with the Guard, but I will tell you, once we did that, the governor and I were getting calls from Texas and Tennessee and other governors about, hey, how did y'all do that? How did you get the state police into your capital city and other cities that are ridden with crime and try to make the impact that y'all have done there? And so hopefully, that had a ripple effect that got the attention of what you can do with any city when you commit to public safety. And it's getting better in Jackson. We still have a way to go, working closely with Mayor Horn and trying to facilitate that. So I'm proud of that. And look, we don't need to just do it there. We got to look at some other cities across this state that are having problems with crime.
Well, I think I speak for all citizens whenever I travel into the city of Jackson, which I live just north of that, is frequent, and especially during the session when I'm in that area a lot, and I see the Capitol Police officers in their vehicles all over the place. You just feel safer.
Absolutely, and it's a force multiplier, and we need that in some of these communities. But it's going to be more and more challenging to try to recruit officers into this field, and you're going to have to do it with competitive salaries and again, better training. I think we need a lot more training for our officers, considering what they have to face these days.
Absolutely. Well, as always, we so appreciate law enforcement men and women in the state of Mississippi, from the state troopers all the way through the county and municipal officers as well, first responders. We appreciate everything they do and appreciate your leadership.
Well, look, they're out there doing a great job. In fact, I got some numbers from our CTED division today, and with Trump in office, we've taken off the road over 100 individuals operating commercial vehicles that couldn't speak English.
Wow.
And you'd be shocked at some of the licenses we see coming from states like California. Crazy. And so they've done a great job across the board. Super proud of our folks.
Appreciate it, Commissioner. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Gerard.
We're stepping aside for a break right now, folks. We're coming right back. We've got John Ferris, lead singer of British Mania. We're at Cruisin the Coast.
And now, the talk that keeps Mississippi talking.
Now, on to the real part.
Dynamite!
On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Well, that's the perfect music to bump us into this segment. Rhino, appreciate that. That's because we have joining us now as we broadcast from Cruisin the Coast on the Biloxi Town Green. It's John Ferris, the lead singer of British Mania. John, thanks for joining us.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Good morning.
Well, you don't talk with an accent that sounds like you're from Liverpool, but you sing that way. That's awesome.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can give you a little bit of Liverpool, but then it'll ruin the show. So I don't want to do that.
I got you. So tell us about this. You guys are a Beatles tribute band, a cover band, if you will. And I spent some time perusing your website. You guys not only look incredible, you sound incredible as well. You got it down, man. It's just phenomenal. Whose idea was this, and when did it get started?
Oh, boy. Well, to make a very long story short, I am the founder and the owner of British Mania. Started the concept around 2003, and just was a fun kind of thing. And then after a while, we started getting calls from out of state. And it just kind of built from there. So I've been doing it over 20 years now.
Are you surprised, John, that this music, like what Rhino just bumped us into this segment, that's a classic Beatles hit, of course, that people still enjoy that music here 60 years later?
It's hard to believe. It's so fresh. I use that word a lot with the music. It just sounds fresh all the time. And it just keeps going from one generation to the next. I mean, we've seen, over the years, more and more young people, meaning 25, 30, or much younger, coming to the shows and just loving the music. So
yeah,
it just keeps reinventing itself. Seems like every 5 years or so. It's been quite a phenomenon.
And of course, just talking about Day Tripper, the song we just played, I remember that when it was introduced, it was almost thought that they were departing from kind of the She Loves You and I Want to Hold Your Hand, the original tunes. I was like, wow, they're changing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how that music has endured, and you're right, it's still popular. And I think young people, when they get exposed to it, say, man, that sounds pretty good. They obviously, as the saying goes, don't make music like that anymore. Just four guys with instruments and voices.
That's right. The Beatles, went through so many phases in the 60s, and every album was a new frontier for them and music, popular music. So, they went from that, shake their heads and oohs and everything else to more sophisticated music. And they just kept bringing their audience with them every single album. So it was just quite a phenom for a musical career. You couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys are in high demand. You got a busy schedule, don't you?
Yeah, we keep pretty busy. We're all over the U.S. Sometimes we do jump out of the country here and there. I had a chance to play at the Cavern Club way back, and that was quite an eye opener as well. The home of the Beatles. But we do keep pretty busy. Just so many different cities. People really love to see us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you're kind of known for, John, your attention to detail. I mean, you really try to replicate the Fab Four just to a T perfectly in everything from your hairstyles to your tailored clothes that are exactly what they wore during the era, the instruments, the sound, etc.
Yes, that was the first thing that I thought of. I said, if I'm going to get into this, I want to do it right. To be a Beatles tribute, you have to do all those things. You have to really be very detail-oriented with the music, the costumes, the acting on stage. All that, the Beatle fan demands that. So me as a Beatle fan, I sat in the audience before, British Mania came about and said, I want to see that. I want to see the guitars. I want to see, the wigs and costumes and everything. So I try to just bring that to the Beatle fan and, and hopefully they like it.
It's outstanding. So even down to a left-handed bassist, right, a la Paul McCartney. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yep, very, very important to have a lefty. Not easy to do. I mean, they all have learned that, they were right-handed guys as well, but they learned how to play lefty because, the position requires it.
Okay, so the bass, the instrument itself, is it a Hofner? It sure looks like one.
Yes, Hofner bass, yep. Everything that we use is authentic. They're reproductions. Obviously, they're not, from the actual age time frame. Those guitars would be worth a lot of money. But there was quite a bit of reissues of all those instruments in the 90s and early 2000s. We try to bring, just everything that, each character played in their specific era,
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I remember my brother, who was a few years older than me, he was quite an accomplished lead guitarist, and they had a band that played the fraternity circuit and clubs and so forth. And, of course, during that era, the 60s, a lot of Beatles music. My brother sounded like John Lennon to a great extent in his vocals. But what I remember, John, back in those days, you could buy the sheet music, right, in the music stores to all the Beatles music. How do you guys practice? Do you use that, or do you listen to the music as recorded and try to practice it?
Well, I'll just give you a quick example of what I did. I mean, this was, believe it or not, before YouTube. Hard to imagine, right?
Yeah, sure.
So there were Beatle books. There were DVDs at that time where you could watch, look, listen, and then you really had to figure out a lot of the stuff by yourself by listening to the CDs, breaking it down, and it was quite time-consuming to do that. But, today you can pull up anything on YouTube you want, as you know, and probably learn a song in a couple of days or so. I didn't have that luxury, though.
Totally agree. You're right. It's awesome. Didn't have that in those days. But again, you try to replicate it perfectly, and obviously the audience likes it because it tends to resonate. Are you constantly adding songs to your set list? Do you have multiple set lists? Tell us about that.
Yeah, that part of it, over the years, I mean, we've all learned many of the Beatles songs, but obviously in a show you can only do so many.
Yeah.
I probably know about 80 to 90 myself.
Gosh.
But I do rotate the songs. And so that if somebody sees us twice or three times, they're not going to see and hear the same exact songs. Like this show tonight, we've got some different songs than we did last year. So they're going to hear some different songs tonight for sure.
And where are you playing tonight?
We are playing at the Beau Rivage Theater right here in Biloxi, Mississippi. And
great venue.
Cruisin the Coast is going on like crazy out there today, and we invite everybody later on, come on out and see us.
Absolutely. At the Beau Rivage, what time does the concert get kicked off?
The show starts at 7:30. The doors open at, I believe, 6:30.
Gotcha.
And we certainly look forward to see everybody from last year and some new folks this year as well.
Sounds like a whole bunch of fun. I'm still trying to comprehend how you know 80 to 90 of the Beatles songs. And then what's even more stunning is that how many songs they produced and how many were hits and still alive today. It really is incredible. Got about 20 seconds left. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. I think the number from the Beatles, Lennon and McCartney wrote about 300.
Gosh.
And you could probably say 95% of them were hits.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Not sure that'll ever be duplicated.
No.
We appreciate you joining us, John. Yeah, absolutely. John Ferris, lead singer, British Mania, performing at the Beau Rivage for Cruisin the Coast tonight. Appreciate you joining us, John. Really enjoyed it. Thanks.
Oh, thank you very much. Great to talk to you. Have a great day now.
Yes, sir. Folks, we're stepping aside for a break. We're at Cruisin the Coast. Come see us. We're on the Biloxi Town Green.
Beep, 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 yeah.
Patriotism is a...
Bring it on!
Middays with Gerard Gibert
It is on!
on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays from the Biloxi Town Green for Cruisin the Coast, the 2025 edition. Rhino, I want to tell you, man, appreciate you playing that song. It's one of my favorite songs. That is the Greg Kihn Band. That's the Breakup Song is the name of it. I still enjoy it quite a bit to this day. Greg Kihn, he passed away. Remember that, Rhino? We talked about it on the show a year or two ago. That's Khin.
Yeah, I want to say it was August of last year.
Okay, yeah. I know it wasn't too long ago. His other big hit, of course, was the song Jeopardy. Our Love's in Jeopardy. Remember that one? And old Weird Al Yankovic, he did a spoof on that one. That was pretty good. So we are, again, discussing the fact that the government still shut down. It is causing some problems. It is also causing some problems in air travel. That is what is being reported by the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy. But you know, the other thing that's going on that is in the airline industry that's causing a problem besides the shutdown and the shortage of air traffic controllers, they're calling in sick. Man, in fact, the Transportation Secretary said as many as 50% of employees at individual facilities have called out on some days since last week. And that is that the airline industry is bracing for a shortage of pilots in a big way. They are concerned about this in the future, just literally not having enough pilots to fly the airplanes in our commercial aircraft, commercial air travel industry. Not really sure where all that's going to go, but it is certainly a concern. And a lot of that was also, it's being reported, due to COVID, when there was kind of a pause, but an extended pause on all the training and certification and just the production of commercial airline pilots. Now, I personally believe that within 15 maybe years, maybe even sooner than that, there'll be a lot of commercial aircraft that will be pilotless. Boeing's been testing pilotless commercial airplanes for about 6 years now. I think they kicked that off in 2018. And, of course, that's not ready for prime time, but I think eventually we will get there. And I think it's also true that much of the air traffic control will also be performed by machines as well. So you'll have machines talking to machines. It is what will evolve as the environment in air travel. And I think it will be safer. And, of course, we won't have this issue of not having enough people. So we'll see. That's where we're headed. That's my belief. That's my theory. You may have a different one. I know a lot of people would step on an airplane and look in the cockpit and not see anybody up there and freak out and say, I ain't getting on this airplane. There's nobody in the cockpit. But I believe that future generations, younger folks, will have the opposite perspective. If they stepped on an airplane and they saw people in the cockpit, I'm not talking about today. I mean at some point in the future. They'll say, wait, I'm not getting on this airplane. There are people flying it. I want machines to fly it. So interesting dynamic going on in the airline industry for sure. Here at home, we've been talking a lot about school choice. And, of course, the Speaker of the House's goal to established robust school choice programs in the state of Mississippi. But there are some cities who were taking a public stand against this policy. Very disappointing. Municipal boards in Clinton, Pearl, Florence, and Jackson all have adopted anti-school choice resolutions. They say that's because constituents disapprove of these measures. Now, again, school choice incorporates lots of different policies. There's no one-size-fits-all. There's no particular set of policies or specific policies you can look at and say, oh, yeah, until it includes all those, it's not school choice. And so what we mean by that is just opening up public school enrollment to anyone where the school assigned to the student can't prohibit the transfer. That's also known as portability, public school portability. That's kind of an entry-level form of school choice, if you will. And then you go beyond that where vouchers could be used, where parents and their students could direct the state funding associated with their student to the school setting of their choice, including a private school, homeschool, charter school. That's all, of course, through the charter school program we currently have, but we limit where charter schools can be built. So that would be another aspect of school choice. And then there's universal school choice where everybody has access to the money appropriated for their K through 12 student. They can use it however they see fit. So they're kind of different aspects, different levels of it. Right now, we're stepping aside for a break, and that's because it is top of the hour. Fox News, SuperTalk News coming your way. Then Woody Bailey, Executive Director, Cruisin the Coast.
Your of Middays with Gerard Gibert is brought to you by the Mississippi Business Journal. Visit msbusinessjournal.com. Scott Coopwood, publisher and president.
And now, the talk that keeps Mississippi talking.
That's what I like to listen to.
You're listening to Middays with Gerard Gibert. Here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Winter is here again, oh Lord.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays from Cruisin the Coast. We're at the Biloxi Town Green today on this
Hump Day.
It's our pleasure to welcome now Woody Bailey. He's the Executive Director of Cruisin the Coast. Woody, always good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Gerard, thank you for having me. Glad to be here. As always, glad to have y'all here.
Absolutely. Ordered up some fantastic weather for today here in Biloxi. And I was just talking to Ricky Matthews earlier. It just seems like we got more people, more vehicles than we have in the past. They seem to be maybe parked a little closer. And I think that's because you just got so many. Tell us where we are now.
Well, we're looking really good at present with 9,630.
That's incredible.
The on-site registration has really picked up speed so far this week. So we'll see. We'll know that final number on Saturday at noon. So that'll be our final number. But look, we've got plenty of cars. We've got plenty of people. Everybody's having fun, and we really have a big push starting tomorrow with everybody coming for the weekend. So the folks that are listening to us that are not here yet, it's time to come on down. We're
Absolutely.
looking forward to seeing you.
I'm always intrigued by just the large number of fans, onlookers that line the highway here, Highway 90.
Yes.
In their lawn chairs, just watching these vehicles all through the night. Cruise up and down the road, just like the old days, which is what you want, huh?
Exactly. No, it's kind of like when I was growing up here, I would cruise up and down the road. We had no audience, but now it's kind of like a Mardi Gras parade all the way up and down Highway 90. 26 miles of our beachfront, and there are people everywhere keeping an eye on these rides, and it is so neat to sit and watch that. I don't get a chance to do that, but I would advise everybody to do that because I've done it a couple of times, and it really is pretty spectacular.
You're right. I made the circuit, the walk from where we're staying here, Hotel Legends, a few blocks down to the Beau Rivage and back. which is a busy area, as you know, for the cruisers and the vehicles. And I was stopping and looking at every one of them, just marveling at these machines and their age, but in just this impeccable condition, man. It's incredible.
They are. Yeah, we've got a lot of beachfront restaurants that line Highway 90, and you ought to go sit there and have lunch, and you'll see everything. It's just amazing. It's really a treat.
Do these guys, I mean, they work on these cars almost every day, don't they, to get them in shape and maintain them and preserve them? Because when they show up, you're just marvel at, wait, I remember that when I was a kid. That's 60 years ago. These things are in perfect condition.
And there's a bunch of them out there before we were kids that are here that are
I've seen them. One right here, right, Woody?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Yeah, no doubt. So it's just there's so many stories with each of these cars, and that's what happens a lot, too, with cruising. There are a lot of reunions that go on during cruising. A lot of people met here at one of the earlier cruising events, and so they're back and they get to see each other. So it's a reunion with people from all over the country. Yesterday I was going to Moss Point, and I saw 2 tags from Indiana, one from Oklahoma, and another one from Kansas. And imagine those people traveling our roads headed to Moss Point, Mississippi for a big event yesterday. So they're here all over the place. We have 41 states, Canada, England, and Australia that are signed up. I'm sure we'll pick up some more states along the way here, but we're international and cover pretty much the United States. So they all like coming here to Mississippi. And look, they come in through other towns and throughout the state. And everybody welcomes them as they all know they're coming to Cruisin the Coast. So everybody, Meridian, Vicksburg, points in between, Tupelo, everywhere, they're seeing these cars coming in and out of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So
absolutely,
it's an economic benefit for them as well. So we like sharing that economic benefit.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, because they're stopping along the way and they're eating in the restaurants and shopping in the shops and buying gas at the C-stores and all that sort of stuff. You're right. So it's a shot in the economic arm of the entire state, not just the coast itself.
Well, when we do our economic study, which we'll do another one next year, we do one every 5 years. Our last study, when we look at the whole state, is let me say this: 36.1 million. For the 3 coast counties, it's 33.1. So you can see that bump for the entire state. So it's a significant event for everybody in Mississippi. And Visit Mississippi works with us. We had Rochelle Hicks here as the Grand Marshal at Long Beach Parade on Monday night. We were happy to have her, and so they work closely with us to make this event a success. And so we invite everybody to come see us. If you haven't been to cruising, you need to come. And by the way, we've got about over 1,000 people that have never been to this event ever that have signed up. So we'll probably have more like 1,500 to 1,600 time it's all said and done.
And they tend to come back once they go through and experience this and meet the great people of Mississippi and the Mississippi Gulf Coast and just the overall good experience they have, they return.
Yep, you're right. When you were announcing coming back on the air, you talked about Hump Day. Well, let me tell you, the real part of Cruisin the Coast is starting tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Cruisin the Coast is somewhat like a poker run. We give them a registration card, and they go get it stamped at all the venues from Pascagoula to Bay St. Louis. There are 6 venues that everybody can visit, and then they're entitled to win $20,000. $500 increments. We give away $20,000 on the last Sunday. So it's a little bit of a poker run, but it gives everybody a chance to go see Ocean Springs, D'Iberville, Biloxi, all the cities up and down the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I know we talk about this regularly when you come on. What was the catalyst for this event, Woody? What was the idea and what prompted the idea?
Well, it was a bunch of business people, casino people particularly got together because the casino people got here and said to us, and we need this as locals, why does tourism stop on Labor Day?
Yeah.
What can we do to extend tourism season? So we all got together and talked about it. Like I say, it wasn't car people getting together. We wanted to do something to help the economy out at a typically slow time of the year. I mean, September, October, November are great months to be here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, or in the state of Mississippi for that matter. And so we set this event in October where it is. We actually every year we close our event on Sunday, which is the day before Columbus Day. We thought that would give us an extra holiday and people might stay over longer. So it's totally economics, but if we can help the economy out, in the state of Mississippi and on Mississippi Gulf Coast, and everybody can have fun doing it. It doesn't really get much better than that.
Absolutely. Well, as you know, Mayor Billy Knight of Moss Point, he likes to say this is like having another Christmas. He comes from the retail clothing industry where so much of their business occurred during the Christmas season. He says this is like another Christmas as far as the shops, the restaurants, the hotels, the merchants are concerned.
Along those lines, exactly. Some of the people might be wait staff at a restaurant, or might be a housekeeper, or maybe a business owner. This is a big shot in the arm for them. It does make a lot of people's Christmas, not just the cities. It extends, and that's what I like so much about this event. It helps so many people. Just the economic aspects of it. If may not directly affect you, but it might affect your customers or your clients or whoever. So it's just such a good thing. And and we have great people. These car folks are well behaved. The police departments, we have no real issues. They even take if you come here Monday and drive down Highway 90, you would never know this event even happened. No trash. Everything is cleaned up, and we're ready to go again. So.
And with respect to the positive economic impact, the hotels, the casinos, the stores, the shops, the restaurants are pretty grateful for this.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And they deliver outstanding service to the attendees, and that's why they keep coming back.
Exactly. We got some good events coming up on Thursday. Pascagoula is going to be doing a Buffett. Y'all know Jimmy Buffett's born in Pascagoula.
That's right.
A Buffett and Bumpers event downtown Pascagoula.
Cool.
So that's going to be new coming up. We have also on Thursday, if you're down to the west, we have in Pass Christian our burnout competition. So that's coming up, and we've got some great concerts coming up at Hollywood Casino on Friday and Saturday, and just a lot of things going on. Beau Rivage has got tremendous entertainment, and there's we have all our entertainment starting from Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 11 to 4:30. We have 3 acts a day on 7 different stages up and down the whole Mississippi Gulf Coast. So there's plenty for everybody to do, and it's a great opportunity, and Mother Nature is cooperating with us, and it's a great time to be here.
Sometimes, we got about 30 seconds left, sometimes you hear about maybe competition between the communities here on the Gulf Coast, but this is a situation where they truly do unite and collaborate.
Oh, it's no doubt. That's one of the things I'm most proud of. We have all 3 counties, all 12 cities in those 3 counties, all working together to make this event successful, and so and that's what's happening, and it's a great thing to see everybody heading in the right direction together.
Absolutely. A great thing for the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and a great thing for the state of Mississippi as well. Appreciate all you do, Woody, and all your leadership there. Let's have a great Cruisin the Coast. As you say, we're really starting to get going right now today.
That's right. Yeah. We're getting into the real thick of it, the heart of it, so everybody come out and see us.
Woody Bailey, Executive Director of Cruisin the Coast, has been our guest here on Middays. We're stepping aside for a break. We'll be right back from the Biloxi Town Green.
I've always...
You know what that means.
Middays with Gerard Gibert.
We'll do it live.
On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
See the USA in your Chevrolet. America's asking you to call. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA. America's the greatest land of all. On a highway or a road along a levee. Performance is sweeter, nothing can beat it. Life is completer in a Chevy.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays from the Biloxi Town Green. That's because it's Cruisin the Coast. We appreciate, as always, Woody Bailey, the Executive Director of Cruisin the Coast. What a phenomenal job he has done just scaling this thing to get bigger and better every year. So many folks are here today, and it's just getting cranked up, just getting started. But I got to tell you, I think the crowds are bigger than they have been in the past, at least on this particular day, the Wednesday of Cruisin the Coast week. And A bunch of these vehicles parked here. What a perfect venue, the Biloxi Town Green. And we've got the tent positioned a little differently than we have in the past. Usually we're facing south, and this year we're facing to the east, and which is fine because I can just turn my head a bit and see through the opening between the Hard Rock Cafe parking lot and a big old live oak tree, and there's the Gulf of America in plain view. Beautiful sight here in the state of Mississippi on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for Cruisin the Coast. So Philip in Walthall County says, look at Tennessee, vouchers are following students to Islamic schools. Well, I guess the first question I would ask is, I'm not exactly sure what an Islamic school is, but are those schools, they legal? And are these American citizens, which they'd have to be in order to qualify for a voucher? So if their choice is to send their kids to a school, I may not like what they're teaching in that school, but provided that everything is on the up and up and legal, it is the money they pay to the government for the education of their children. They're directing it to the school of their choice. I think the bigger question is, in my view, is how we have all these people into this country. If they immigrated legally, that's why. If they're not, that's a different story. But regardless, I believe they should assimilate with American law, of course, and American values. So that would be consistent with freedom of choice in education. Chad in Bad Cleve says, great song, Rhino. That's after Rhino played the old See the USA in a Chevrolet. That was a very popular, famous jingle from the golden era of American car manufacturing. That had to be the 60s, right, Rhino? Because I remember that when I was a kid.
It was still playing in the 60s. It came out in the early 50s, I want to say 52 or 53, then it really took off when it was used as the jingle for the advertisement of the 59 Impala.
Wow. Incredible. Okay. Incredible. So it's amazing that jingle survived that long. You know, in the world of advertising, a lot of times you got to reinvent, keep it fresh. But things were a little different then. They moved at a little slower pace overall, and you didn't have as many outlets on which to advertise because that slogan, that theme, not only was used as you played it in television and radio, but also magazines were big. I don't know that magazines are as big as they used to be with the advent of social media and the internet. Certainly printed magazines. I do see them in the bookstores. I guess people still buy them. Something to be said for that. But I do remember them advertising their vehicles.
Music moved a little slower then, but car manufacturing actually moved a little faster as far as the changes in the models of the vehicle. Like a model would change every 3 or so years and be almost a completely new vehicle made by the same manufacturer, maybe even with the same name, but it was a different model. Whereas nowadays you'll have a model that'll last a decade without any changes, any major changes.
That's true. And I wonder if to some extent that's because we're just kind of running out of things to do that you can jam in a car. But you know, I guess the latest push is really around autonomous vehicles more than anything else. Of course, the propulsion, the powering of the vehicle, traditional fossil fuels versus EV. Speaking of EV, because those tax credits expired for the purchase of an EV last week, at the end of September, the EV industry, including Elon Musk's Tesla, are bracing for a significant downturn in sales of EVs, which tells you all you need to know when the government's got to prop it up with tax credits in order to get people to buy them, and it's really not a viable product or industry without that. Well, that's a problem. That's why the government shouldn't get involved in that sort of stuff.
I think the best analogy I've seen recently as far as internal combustion engines versus EVs is, could you imagine if every time you bought a brand new internal combustion engine vehicle, you pretty much had to start your watch because in 8 years' time you were going to have to replace the entire transmission? That's the way EVs are. They claim they have less moving parts and they're all this and that and more efficient and more climate friendly, but you better start your watch because in about 8 years you're going to have to replace the battery at this current level of technology. And that battery costs more than just about any transmission being replaced.
Almost renders the vehicle disposable, honestly, and then most people can't make that work economically. And it related to this, just yesterday, the Ford CEO, Jim Fairley is his name, he said that the U.S. is facing, quote, a huge crisis with its shortage of skilled labor. If you ask your local plumber and or electrician, he says that this is a huge problem, and the U.S. is really not adequately addressing this. He said if you ask the plumbers or electricians, the tradesmen of today, okay, who's the next generation? They'll say, I don't know. Whereas I think a short 10, 15 years ago, they could point to the next generation that would succeed them in those particular jobs. But now they're saying, I don't know. So that's kind of a problem that he points out. That's the Ford CEO, and of course he's talking about skilled labor that his company needs to manufacture automobiles. That's why I'm skeptical about the return of manufacturing to this country. I embrace that. I support it, but I think we have to be realistic that modern manufacturing facilities are not going to be loaded up with people shoulder to shoulder on assembly lines. That's not going to work. It's not cost effective, and there's not enough labor if we continue to manufacture in a labor-intensive fashion. Little chink in the armor with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene breaking with the GOP on Obamacare. She is calling to avoid premium hikes. So it sounds like the conservative stalwart, Marjorie Taylor Greene, says that we need to continue the Obamacare subsidies. Man, she said, let's just say as nicely as possible, I'm not a fan, but I'm going to go against everyone on this issue because when the tax credits expire this year, my own adult children's insurance premiums for 2026 are going to double, along with all the wonderful families and hardworking people in my district. Wow, how about that? So it sounds like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who would fashion herself as a hardcore conservative here, is actually advocating for government welfare. Because that's what it is. The ACA subsidies are just tax money that's going out the door to people based on their income to purchase health insurance. Of course, the health insurance lobby is in full gear, pressuring Congress, including Republicans to whom they contribute, to extend the enhanced subsidies rather than just returning to the subsidies as originally enacted in the Affordable Care Act in 2010 under President Barack Obama. Nope, they want the enhanced ratcheted up the amount of premium tax credits Americans receive for coverage purchased in the ACA marketplaces. Some 24 million receive subsidies, and those subsidies are going to be reduced if the enhancements are not extended. And that's what is at the crux of the government shutdown. We're stepping aside for a break. We're coming right back with the Element Well studio set up on the Biloxi Town Green. It's Patty Megger, Director of Communication and Engagement, Coastal Mississippi. We're at Cruisin the Coast.
From the Seabrook.
Check it out. Let's do this.
The talk that keeps Mississippi talking. Middays with Gerard Gibert.
Let's get on with it.
On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays from Biloxi, Mississippi. We're at the Biloxi Town Green for Cruisin the Coast. Absolutely surrounded by all these beautiful classic vehicles. It's our pleasure to welcome now Patty Megger, Director of Communications and Engagement, Coastal Mississippi. Patty, always good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, my gosh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for being here, for coming down for the last 2 days and spending some time with us in all these beautiful cars.
Absolutely. So it looks to me like I remarked this to Ricky Matthews earlier today and, of course, Woody Bailey, that crowds seem to be a little bigger, and it seems like the vehicles are sandwiched in a little tighter. Maybe that's because of the number and just a huge amount of interest. I think this event seems to get bigger and better every year.
100%. Definitely bigger crowds for sure yesterday in Moss Point and again today. I think they're still looking for people to be coming in for the rest of the week, and there's just so much interest, and people love coming down here and seeing all the cars. So even if you don't have a car to enter, just come walk around, take a look, and just enjoy this gorgeous South Mississippi weather.
Just having fun.
That's
what it's all about.
That's all we do. We play Coastal Mississippi.
And it doesn't cost a lot of money, if any.
No, goodness, no.
So.
We just love to come. We love for folks to come down here and just have a good time and eat some great seafood and just experience everything there is here.
All right, tell us about Coastal Mississippi, what your mission is.
Our mission is to introduce people to the 3 coastal counties, Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson County, and to show them all the wonderful things that we have here to experience, to do. I get to go out into the world and talk to people all the time, and you read my title at the top of the show, but I always tell people my real title is Mythbuster, because I get to go all over the world and talk to people about coastal Mississippi and bust every myth they think they know about who we are and what we have. And you know, it's just so much fun to see people discover this place.
Lots of misconceptions.
Lots of misconceptions, but you know what? There's something really special about getting somebody down here for the first time, and you drive them in, and the minute they see the beach and they see the beautiful hotels and the beautiful homes along Highway 90, it just, all of that just fades away completely. Just completely fades away. So it's great.
Quickly refuted by their eyes and ears and their human senses when they come here, no doubt. And, of course, the most precious asset, the great people of the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Absolutely. We would be nothing without the charm and hospitality of the people who live here and work here and make up these 3 wonderful coastal counties.
Yeah. And we talked with Woody about this, and he certainly agrees, but this is an area where all the communities, all the counties, all the cities that make up the fantastic Mississippi Gulf Coast, they really collaborate and unite, work together for this event.
So beautifully. And this event and others as well. I know you had Mayor Casey Vaughn on yesterday, and he and I were talking before he came on your air about all the events that he goes to, and I know the other mayors. You know, you never know when you're going to see one mayor pop up down in Bay St. Louis at something, and it really is wonderful that we have this kind of collaboration, and because all of our cities have something unique to offer, and right now there's a real trend in tourism, you know, everywhere. It's called town sizing, not downsizing, but town sizing. 20% of people who are planning vacations right now are looking for small towns because they're tired of the big city rat race. They're tired of the big city vacations. So we have so many wonderful, unique communities here to bring people to just get to experience what wonderful things we have.
And many of them fall in love with it and decide to move here.
And isn't that great? Tourism is the front door of economic development 100% of the time. So, you know, we always say if we can get them here for a visit, we can get them here for a lifetime.
Well, I like to say we have such a fabulous story to tell. We just got to tell it more.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm doing my best.
I know you are.
You know, I was the kid that talks a lot on my report card, so now I just
want to do it for a living.
Now I want to go back to my guidance counselor and say, hey, look at me now. But, you know, I do love going out and talking about coastal Mississippi all the time.
You have to admit, it's kind of fun, is it not, to refute and debunk those myths, those misconceptions. You get a little pleasure out of that, don't you?
I get a whole lot of pleasure out of it.
Nothing wrong with that.
I was in a room with 500 people in New York City last week, and with 8 partners from here on the coast, 8 tourism partners, and we put on a wonderful event at Condé Nast in New York City, and it was so fun to just see the looks on people's faces when they were eating such great food from Beau Rivage and from Radish in Long Beach, or one of our fresh shucked oysters from here on the coast. It was magical. It was just a magical night, and I hope it turns into a lot of really great things to come.
They didn't expect that, did they?
They were not expecting that. Nope. They were not expecting it at all, but we had some really great people that we worked with up there, and we just put on such a spectacular event. And again, all of the partners that we took with us, Chandelier Brewing was another one, Walter Anderson Museum, as well as the others that I mentioned. It was just seeing those partners and that collaboration, and the wonderful team at Condé Nast that helped us, pull it all together, just really made for a special night and a lot of wonderful outcome that we hope to see coming down the road.
What else is on the schedule for coastal Mississippi?
We will be partnering with Visit Mississippi and some of the other DMOs in the state for the Tournament of Roses Parade in Pasadena on January 1st. That's going to be a really great event and a lot of fun, and again, tons of exposure for coastal Mississippi, for the state of Mississippi, to reach people from around the world. Some of whom will be at the parade, many of whom will be watching from home. But how great to see our state showcased on such a wonderful international stage as that.
That's so awesome. That's big time for sure.
Yeah, but you can look for us if you're at the Saints game. We've been activating at Saints home games for coastal Mississippi, so you can stop by our table there. I think we're usually in Champion Square, and you can get to know a little bit about coastal Mississippi if you're at the Saints game, and you just never know. You can turn around, and there we are.
That is so good. And so Mayor Billy Knight yesterday of the great river city of Moss Point said that the cool thing about this event, the Cruisin the Coast event, is that it's like Christmas with respect to retailers and those who rely on retail sales for a living, and he equated it to having like another Christmas. Of course, you have Mardi Gras as well.
That's right. We have Mardi Gras, we have Cruisin', and we have Christmas, and we have so many wonderful festival weekends all year long. But these are really special times for our local retailers. Last year, the state of Mississippi had 44.2 million visitors. Of those 44.2 million, a third, 15.6 million, came to coastal Mississippi.
Wow.
So 1/3. And the spend on arts, entertainment, and casinos was up 10% last year, and 36% was at local businesses. And I'm not talking chains and fast food. I'm talking local, mom and pop, the restaurants you love, the restaurants where all the locals eat. They were spending money in those places, and we love that.
Yeah.
We love that for them.
Well, the Department of Tourism, as you know, has released some data recently that shows tourism has increased in the state of Mississippi. The governor's been touting that as well. He should.
Yes.
So this is good news for Mississippi.
It's great news for Mississippi. It's great news.
And I think it's reflected in our GDP gains.
Yes, it is. When tourism is up, everything is looking good in Mississippi. We, it's such a huge economic driver across the board. So we love seeing visitors come. We love seeing repeat visitors come back, and new visitors just discover us, and it's a great time to work in tourism.
Well, there's a lot to do, as you well know, from the coast to the capital and all the way up to the border and on all sides. There's a lot to do. There's great people, and it won't break you.
That's right.
Because there's a lot of other options if you're interested in being a tourist and traveling, and other experiences are expensive, but it's not. To come
That's
to
right.
Mississippi.
We are a very economical destination, and especially for folks that are in that tank to tank and a half drive market. It's easy to get here from Dallas, from Atlanta, from Birmingham and Memphis. It's just an easy drive to a wonderful place where you don't have to wait an hour and a half to get into a restaurant, and people aren't blanket to blanket close at the beach either.
Yeah,
so
I think that is absolutely right.
Lot to recommend Coastal Mississippi.
And that's why this event's such a great success.
Yes, it is.
No doubt.
And why so many people come back year after year.
Yeah, good point. Patty Megger, Director of Communications and Engagement for Coastal Mississippi, has been our guest. Once again, folks, we're at Cruisin the Coast. We're set up on the Biloxi Town Green. If you're around, come by and see us. Appreciate it, Patty. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you having me.
We're going to take a little break right here. We're coming right back with more middays, again, from Biloxi. The top of the hour, we've got Jamie Miller, CEO of Gulf Coast Business Council. We're also going to talk to Senator Scott Delano in the final hour of middays. Stay with us.
Puyallup, Mississippi.
Middays with Gerard Gibert.
Welcome to our shop.
On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Okay, now you have a good one.
Well, I hadn't thought about connecting that one, Rhino, but that's a good one. That's Foghat, arguably their biggest hit. I know this is crazy, but back when I was in high school, I had earned my way into buying a pretty decent sound system. That was back in the days when receivers were being introduced. Most people remember that from the 70s. So you'd have a receiver and then, separate speakers. Stereo. You didn't have anything beyond that, and I don't recall that subwoofers were invented yet. But I had a turntable, had a BIC seems to be the brand I remember, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was either from Canada or Great Britain. I always wanted a B&O, but I couldn't afford those things. But I go to sleep every night putting on some music that I enjoyed rather loudly. I don't know how the heck that put me to sleep as a 15, 16-year-old, but I just remember going to sleep to that one, Foghat Slow Ride, which is pretty loud. We kind of crank it on up. And then the next day my parents would say, hey, could you turn it down a little bit? I was upstairs, and they were to the side and below in their bedroom. But anyhow, appreciate that. Kind of fun. Slow Ride. Perfect. Foghat. Tim and McGee says Mrs. Green's adult children may have to do like the rest of us, cut back somewhere else. There's always room to cut back if you want insurance. I hear you, Tim, and it's a valid point you make. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who we're talking about, who yesterday said that she's concerned about the enhanced ACA subsidies expiring at the end of the year, which means that her adult children, who evidently participate in the subsidized coverage in the exchanges, that apparently is where they get their coverage. And, of course, they enjoy the subsidies. It turns out Republicans like government money, too. I know that's shocking. It's even one that would fashion themselves as a concrete, hardcore conservative, such as Marjorie Taylor Greene. Apparently her adult children are concerned, and she as their mother are concerned about these subsidies expiring here in a couple of months and their premiums rising by a substantial amount. And the president said something yesterday as well. I read that to you, I believe, on the show, where he said, yeah, we're okay with negotiating with the Democrats, but I do agree with the president Leader Thune and Speaker Mike Johnson, hey, let's open the government up and then let's negotiate. I am concerned about the fact that they're willing to negotiate. I believe we ought to let the subsidies, the enhanced subsidies, expire, if for no other reason because we can't afford it. Everybody's got a sacred cow, including conservative firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene. They got a sacred cow, and everybody's sacred cow gets preserved and protected, and the next thing you know, you're $38 trillion in debt. When do we ever say no? The answer is never, unfortunately. We always seem to be able to find a way to just print money or borrow money to pay for whatever the heck we want. The promise was, of course, that we'd see the cost of living decline. A serious question. Have you guys seen that? I mean, the data collected by the Bureau of Labor Statistics and other federal agencies, the Treasury and so forth, indicate that inflation is still out there. It certainly is not rising at the rate, prices aren't at the rate they were during the disastrous Biden term, but they're still in the 2.5 to 3%, so they're still going up. And then when you take food and energy out and get to core inflation, about 2.3%, still going up. I'm just curious, are folks finding that the cost of living has declined? Now, what has happened, this is absolutely the truth, is that real wages since the president took office have increased by about $1,100. Real wages, that would be wages adjusted for the increase of the cost of goods and services we consume to live. So you should be, since the president took office, according to this data statistic, this data metric from the government, about $1,100 to the good. After you factor in the increased cost of living, subtract that from the increase in your pay, on average, you should show a $1,100 boost, which is good because we were underwater, upside down during the Biden era. Inflation was rising, and thus the cost of living faster than wages. That's a terrible situation. Interesting, though, that we've got these dynamics working out where even conservative folks in our government in Congress seem to be lobbying to extend Obamacare enhanced subsidies. Time for a break. Right now, it's top of the hour, middays again at the Biloxi Town Green for Cruisin the Coast. And when we come back, we've got Jamie Miller, CEO of the Gulf Coast Business Council. It's Cruisin the Coast 2025.
Welcome to the show that challenges you to think deeply, and look beyond political posturing. You're listening to Middays with Gerard Gibert here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
I put mine on. Welcome back, everyone. It's hour 3, the afternoon portion of Middays. We are live from the Biloxi Town Green for Cruisin the Coast. That's where we have relocated the Element Wealth studio for today, the 2025 edition of Cruisin the Coast on this
Hump Day.
It's our pleasure to welcome now Jamie Miller. He is the CEO of the Gulf Coast Business Council. Jamie, always good to see you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for being down here. Good to be seen in Biloxi.
Absolutely. So bigger and better. That's what this event looks to me like every year, man. It's a fantastic occurrence here along the entire Gulf Coast, attracting so many people from within the country and outside the country as well. They come to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. They find out how great it is.
Yeah, you had Woody on earlier. I don't think Woody could have imagined what this was going to look like 25 years after they started it. It was a great idea, but there's no way they could have imagined what it turned into.
I think he was just trying to recreate his days of driving these vehicles when they were current and popular along the coast here. He didn't know we were going to have thousands of them here showing up, and all these people enjoying these classic vehicles. Which, look at that shine on that. That's like a '55 Chevrolet, I think, that's painted in metallic orange. Absolutely gorgeous with its hood open with the sun beaming down on it. That's what this is all about.
Oh, it's incredible. And you look at the engines are just as chrome and polished as the outside. You think about the time and the money these folks spend on these cars. It's a labor of love for sure.
That's back when you could work on your car, under the shade tree. You kind of knew what was going on under the hood. Now they're so complicated, I wouldn't touch them, honestly.
No, you're right.
Little different situation, but from a business perspective, this is a pretty good deal, isn't it?
It's a huge economic impact. Obviously, tourism plays a big role on the Gulf Coast, and the event, to your point earlier, Moss Point had an incredible event. It goes all the way from Pascagoula all the way back to Hancock County. Every city and county gets involved, and so it's the way it should be. But this event's perfect time and great boost to the economy down here and the state.
Yeah. And the businesses, folks, your bippers, they completely support this, do they not?
Oh, without a doubt. Our current chairman of our council is Jonathan Jones, operates Harris Casino here just down the way. Obviously, the casinos enjoy this venue, retail, restaurants, really just about everything you can think of that sells something along the coast benefits.
Well, I think it's fair to say, Jamie, that the coast is so perfectly suited for such an event. First thing, you got to have lots of lodging. Mm-hmm. And we have that with all the hotels, including all the casinos, most if not all of which have large properties, lots of rooms available. You got to have lots of restaurants. You're certainly blessed with that here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And we've got great law enforcement, great transportation, infrastructure, all the ingredients.
Yeah, and people. That theme has come up over and over. We've got all the intangibles of the scenery, the landscape, the lodging, the restaurants, and then a very welcoming, hospitable, Gulf Coast in Mississippi who loves to see these people come in. So
the most precious asset of all, no doubt. Right. The great people. Give us an update on the Gulf Coast Business Council. What's going on there that you want to talk to us about?
Yeah, we're Business Council is a regional organization. We operate in Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson County. We're a 501c6 made up of industry and business CEOs primarily involved in public policy issues, mostly around economic issues, the economy, quality of life. So we've had started after Katrina as a result of just kind of getting knocked on our knees and industry responding to that and wanting to make sure that the coast recovered in a big way. We're currently working on regional issues to include the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund, which remains to be about $300 million to be spent in the lower 6 counties. We've been working to bring our region together to think about how the best investments for that money would look like and to grow the economy long term. So we've been focused on that. We're going to kick off another initiative here, announce it with the governor in a few weeks, around our military and defense community. It's so important. Even Camp Shelby in Hattiesburg, south to here, to Keesler, right here where we're at today. The military and defense assets play such a big role in our economy in the state and certainly on the coast. So we're going to announce an initiative and focused on that to grow those industries, to support those installations and the missions that happen in South Mississippi. Governor's going to be a part of that. We're looking forward to that. And partners with Coastal Mississippi, our tourism group. They're another regional organization, serve on our advisory board. So there are other parts of the state that have regional organizations. I think ours is a special one. Our business CEOs once a month get together. We have monthly meetings. We have an annual symposium. I think we're focused on the right things and continue to hope to improve the Gulf Coast.
Under the governor's leadership, the state has enjoyed significant capital investment, as you well know. I mean, I think more in the last couple of years perhaps announced than maybe the prior 20 or 30, which is just a great thing. The Gulf Coast has had a great experience as well, and in particular, the blue economy is thriving and driving a lot of growth.
That started probably in 2016, but former Governor Phil Bryant commissioned a study to do a task force around that. The federal government was also doing a similar study. And what we learned and what the coast was reminded of, one of our greatest assets is our closeness to the water, the marine environment, and USM just picked the ball up and ran with it. They've got an accelerator program recruiting blue tech companies to the coast. Some of those companies now have set up shop here on the coast. Ocean Aero, which is
I've interviewed them.
Yeah,
fantastic
company doing
fascinating
work and selling their products really all over the world.
Yeah,
that's an emerging industry in itself, and we're going to continue to take advantage of that. That's just one example. The cyber center that's going to be built here just off the basic Keesler.
We see a couple of months ago.
Potential there with clustering of industries around cybersecurity and other technologies around that. So I think we're pressing some good buttons on the coast, looking forward 10 years, 20 years down the road. I think you made mention of manufacturing. Manufacturing is going to look so different in the future in terms of just number of jobs and how it's done. Technology is going to drive, I think.
Still a driver of economic growth.
No question. Mississippi does it better than as good as anybody. But technology is going to play such a big role.
And though I referenced the governor because the announcements occurred under his tenure, we would be remiss if we didn't credit Governors Haley Barbour and Phil Bryant for laying that foundation.
Sure. And there'll be projects that are announced after Tate's term is up that he will have played a huge role in. It's just the way it goes. And you're involved in Madison County's economic development. You've watched that AWS project over several years come together. So it's a team sport without question. Economic development requires everybody. And if you get your team aligned in the right way, you can make big things happen.
And when you have big announcements like this, the world takes note. It's like, what's going on in Mississippi? And so the phone starts ringing, and the level of interest seems to ramp up as well. And so we all benefit from that in that way.
We do. I was at MDA just before these big announcements, so maybe it was time for me to go. Maybe the pipeline seems really robust. If you talk to Bill Cork, I mean, they're constantly working big projects all the time, and so I don't think the run is over. I think the Mississippi momentum is real. I think the coast momentum is real, and I don't want to see it stop.
No, I totally agree. So we have all the ingredients to support major investments from businesses or existing businesses that are looking to expand. They should look no further than in their own backyard. We have low taxes, we have limited and reasonable regulatory environment, fantastic workforce, plenty of land, infrastructure, power, water, all the things you need that make for a good investment.
Yeah, business retention, I think it's still true today. I mean, these big announcements are great, but when you look at incentives that Mississippi traditionally has provided to businesses, a majority of it go to current industry and businesses that are expanding or growing here already. So there's plenty of room to grow if you're already here, and then an attractive environment to be here if you're looking.
And you're so right that it is a team sport. A lot of these projects maybe flow through MDA, and then they get handed off to local economic developers. A lot of them go directly to and are solicited of the local economic developers. But everybody's got to work together to make these things come through.
No question. It's like tourism. I mean, they're kind of the front door of economic development, they like to say, because ultimately those site selectors, those business folks that are looking to locate, they want to come into the community and get a sense of the community itself.
Absolutely.
So you got to have everybody from the mayor to the local electeds to the engineering firms to the local EDs. Everybody's got to get on the same page.
It also doesn't hurt, does it, Jamie, that our schools are thriving at the K-12 level? And, of course, we got fantastic community colleges and higher ed.
Yeah, the coast schools for sure, and there's great examples all over the state, but the coast has benefited for sure from a great school system.
Always good to talk to you, Jamie. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
Jamie Miller, CEO of the Gulf Coast Business Council, has been our guest. We're stepping aside for a break right now. When we come back, it's Tessie Lambert, Chief Marketing Officer for Lodging and Leisure Investments. Stay with us. We're at Cruisin the Coast 2025.
Hey, this is Bob.
Properly set all controls before recording.
All systems go. The talk that keeps Mississippi talking. Middays with Gerard Gibert. on SuperTalk Mississippi.
I've been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays. We're at Cruisin the Coast 2025. We're at the Biloxi Town Green. If you're in the area, come on by and say hello. We'd appreciate that. Our guest now is Tessie Lambert, Chief Marketing Officer for Lodging and Leisure Investments. Tessie, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I assume that leisure and
Lodging and leisure.
Lodging and leisure. Pardon me, I got it backwards. Pardon me.
It's okay.
Investments is a parent company.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and so you guys operate various hotel properties, right?
We sure do. We have 4 currently in operation all across the Gulf Coast, and I'm proud to say that all 4 of those are historic renovations.
Oh, cool. Well, tell us about those.
So back in the day, our first one that we reopened was the White House Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
We opened that one back in 2014, and as everyone knows, I think it was really destroyed by Hurricane Katrina, unfortunately, and our company was able to step in and reimagine that one. And we've been operating that one now for 11 years, and we just opened our expansion, giving us 49 new rooms just behind the original building. The original building. And then after that one came Margaritaville Resort Biloxi. That one was the old Casino Magic, and it sat vacant for years as well. So we brought that one to the market, being a 373-room hotel with a 55,000 square foot family entertainment center, a water playground with a lazy river and swim up bar, Doe's Eat Place.
Really cool. I've been there.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. And then Paradise Pier came along. That's another addition to Margaritaville, which is another layer of family fun, an outdoor amusement park. Goodness, let me think. After that, we did Hotel Legends, which is right in front of us here.
Where I'm staying.
Yeah, and this building was one of the last eyesores along Highway 90 after Hurricane Katrina. I can remember standing on the pool deck after we opened Margaritaville and just looking down Highway 90 and seeing it with the glass.
Was it a retirement facility,
It
right?
was, yeah.
I remember when it was built. It was a Catholic retirement home.
Yeah, it sure was. And so we turned it into Hotel Legends, which is a 132-room all-suite hotel. They're fabulous.
Really cool.
They have images curated from Getty archives all throughout the hotel. And everyone's favorite, Sapphire Supper Club, which is open Wednesday through Saturday nights. And they have a bar in there as well that everybody likes to visit.
So is this an industry your family has been in a long time?
It actually is.
Okay.
Yeah, these are all family-owned businesses of ours.
Oh, that's really cool.
And last but not least, we have Centennial Plaza down in Gulfport.
Played music there back in May.
Yeah, that was
really
a great
cool.
event.
Oh, a fantastic event. Mayor Billy Hughes, Mayor Fofo Gillich, and all the elected leaders from across the area get together. Those that have a little musical talent, we play and raise money for good cause.
Yes, we love having them out. It's always a good time.
Really neat.
To that property, we did just bring another addition there as well, and it is Hippie Fish Golf, Games, and Grub. So you can now get in on some great mini golf. It's different than actual mini golf, though. It's under the old historic oaks. It's beautiful. It's not your average mini golf. So there's 2 unique courses, 130 arcade games, and a fabulous restaurant at that property now.
Really cool. So I get the feeling you guys aren't done. You got some other plans. Can you talk to us about that? What can you share with us today?
Oh, goodness. There's always something in the works with us. So we do love historic buildings, as you know, obviously. We do own the Markham in downtown Gulfport, which everyone is excited for us to bring back to the market, and I cannot wait to bring back. I've seen the inside, and I can tell you it's gorgeous. It's we don't have a release date yet for that one.
Okay.
But it's coming.
But you've acquired it and you're renovating it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Do you
very
have a theme picked out for that one yet?
I can say it's modern glamour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I like to call it glamour on the Gulf.
Sure. So how big a deal is this Cruisin the Coast to all these great hotel properties you guys operate?
It's a really big deal. We really enjoy Cruisin the Coast. we sell out just about all of our hotel rooms during the week, and it's a great time.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm just staying at the Hotel Legends, which is where we stay traditionally when we come down and do the show. It seems like it's packed every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and folks are enjoying themselves.
And guests can they can go ahead and reserve their hotel rooms for next year's cruise and receive 10% off this week at any of our hotels.
Yeah.
So that's always an insider tip.
So through the years, has anything gotten harder or easier about being in the lodging business? That may be kind of putting you on the spot there.
Yeah.
Think about that a minute. But are there any particular challenges that you're facing with that you're working through right now?
There are always challenges in the market, but we do our best to navigate them. It's in our mission statement to navigate the now, and I think that we're really good at that.
What about staffing and availability of workers? How's that looking?
That ebbs and flows with the season, as it does. I mean, with our industry being very tourist driven. That's how that rolls.
So when Mardi Gras rolls into town in the February time frame, I assume that that's a big event for you as well?
Yeah, I would say not as big as like spring break. Mardi Gras, we get a pop, but it's not as big as the next one being spring break.
Because it's mostly attended, I guess, by local folks, rather than people that descend upon this area like they do for Cruisin the Coast, which is incredible.
Yes, it is. I mean, it is incredible to just watch the cars drive up and down Highway 90 all week long.
Amazing.
They surprise me all the time.
Do you feel like a lot of your guests are a little surprised at the quality of the properties here? Maybe not those that have never been here before.
Right.
Maybe not expecting to find them to be on par with anywhere in the country.
Yeah, I hear that all the time, and I've met guests. So every year at Margaritaville, we host a block party.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it for, I think, 10 years now, or maybe 9 years. And I've been hosting it every year, and I have attendees come back every year to find me and show me pictures that they've taken from previous years, and they tell me, that they've stayed here, they've stayed there, but they've never loved a property like Margaritaville, or some of them went through the years. We've had conversations, and I would tell them about our other properties as they've come online, and they would then stay at Legends or White House, and they are always blown away.
That's cool. So Margaritaville is the former Casino Magic, is that right?
It is.
So I seem to recall in Katrina, the storm pushed that building, if you will, across Highway 90 on the north side of 90. Is
the
that
barge.
Right?
Yeah,
the barge. That's
barge.
right. Yes, exactly. The building that sat on essentially a barge. Because my wife grew up on Holly Street, just a couple of blocks away, and I remember coming down to find her house flattened, the house she grew up in, nothing but the concrete steps, and looking down Highway 90, surreal. Seeing that big barge sitting on the north side of the highway.
Wasn't it something?
It's incredible.
It was.
And then look at it today.
Yeah.
Beautiful, gorgeous, awesome, right? That's a great property.
It's an
well.
honor. It's been an honor to watch my family bring these back and all that they've done. I mean, it feels unreal.
So, who started the company?
My parents.
Your parents did? Mm-hmm. Okay. So are you sort of poised to succeed and take over?
Who knows?
I got a feeling you might be.
You never know.
Do you like the business? Evidently, right?
I do really enjoy the business. I love getting to touch lives. Even I'm in marketing, so I get to touch lives in really fun, unique ways through storytelling and different things that we bring to our properties with our features and all of that. And it's really enjoyable.
So, being in marketing, were you involved in either writing or approving the script for the live reads for the Hotel Legends that I read yesterday?
I was.
That was really well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I did those myself.
Oh, that's really cool.
Thank you.
I thought I just noted that's something you honestly wouldn't expect to see at a local level. That's pretty well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. So,
I'm all self-taught, but
that's really good. I was impressed because I read them all yesterday.
Did you?
Several times. Yeah, that's what you paid for. So.
Thank you. And I do have one more operation that we do have coming online. So when we started in the business of our apartments We used to build homes, and then we built apartments. And now we are currently in the works of building a business called The Retreat. It is a live, work, play community in Biloxi, right on Back Bay, next to the Biloxi High School. And the first phase will be opening soon, hopefully around the end of the year. We have a lot hopefully happening by the end of the year. But yeah, so it'll be a 55 and older community with the clubhouse inside. There's going to be pickleball courts and gyms, and there's a splash pad, and it's right by the high school. It's going to be really, really nice.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on, Tassie.
Thank you so much. And if y'all want to know more, you can always find us at Lodging Leisure Investments.
Sounds great.
LodgingLeisureInvestments.com.
Tassie Lambert, Chief Marketing Officer for Lodging and Leisure Investments, has been our guest here on Middays from the Biloxi Town Green for the 2025 edition of Cruisin the Coast. Up next, I'm looking at him right now. It's the senator who represents District 50, which incorporates Harrison County, Scott Delano. Stay with us. Once again at Cruisin the Coast 2025.
From the Seabrook.com.
The talk that keeps Mississippi talking.
We're rolling. Hit it. Go. Play it.
Middays with Gerard Gibert on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays from Cruisin the Coast. We're set up on a stage here at the Biloxi Town Green, surrounded by all these gorgeous classic vehicles. It's our pleasure to welcome now Senator Scott Delano. He represents District 50, which incorporates Harrison County, right where we're seated at this point. Senator, good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, sir. Always good to have you down here.
Yeah, man, this is a fantastic event. We've been talking about it all day. It seems like it just gets bigger and better.
It sure does, and the weather's been incredibly cooperative. And we usually have a little bit cooler weather, but wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Woody talked to us about that. Woody Bailey, of course, he's the executive director of Cruisin the Coast. He said that this thing really kicks into gear tomorrow and throughout the weekend, and it looks like the weather's going to be absolutely perfect for the cruisers here at Cruisin the Coast.
Yeah, you know what's awesome is that every year it seems like it gets earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
So Thursday of last week, we started seeing cars down here. We started seeing RVs moving in, and absolutely love that. And I think that some of the cruisers have decided that, hey, there's an opportunity for us to go and enjoy the Gulf Coast on Thursday and Friday, Saturday of the, before the event actually starts. And then it does get a little crazy, a little crowded on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it gives them the opportunity to get out and have their fun, go see the entire Gulf Coast. It's great. It's a great opportunity. I'm glad to see it. And Woody and his volunteers don't get the credit that they deserve for what they've done for our economy down here during October, and these are lasting impressions that people come down to the coast, enjoy, and they come back, and that's exactly what this is.
Completely agree. Fill up all the hotels and jam in the restaurants and buy stuff in the shops, spend money. Really is a shot in the arm of the coastal economy and really the entire state of Mississippi, because they all got to travel through Mississippi for the most part to get to this location. Certainly if they're coming from the north, and they spend money while they're traveling.
Yeah, absolutely. We have events all across the entire state during this time of the year, and this is our time to shine. And I was in Natchez last night, and they've got their balloon festival coming up here in the next week and a half, and
great event.
It's just all kinds of events for Mississippi. It's great to see. It's great to see the investment that we've made at the state level to try to do what we can to attract more people from outside of the state, grow our economy, grow our GDP, and it is paying off for us.
Well, we're between legislative sessions at this point in time, but a short 2.5, 3 months away, you guys will be gathering back up under the dome. What's on your radar this year?
Well, I'll tell you, we are constantly working, and in fact, I think about 2 days a week, at least two, maybe even 3, we're working on other state policies and state issues. As the chairman of technology, as you're aware of, we're really watching AI and how we can incorporate that into the efficiencies of government, how that can help us deliver services better. Deliver some of the issue, or deliver and respond to applications in a much quicker way than what we've been able to do. It's not a necessary reduction in workforce as much as it is an efficiency of productivity, and I think that that's something that AI will bring for the state of Mississippi, and working on a sandbox for agencies to be able to work within to understand what are all the problems before they go live is a very important issue. And that's a part of government that we can excel at, and Mississippi has a great network already established through Maine, which I know you're familiar with, here at Gulf Coast Community College.
Dr. Colin Napier does a great job.
That dude is a rock star.
Yeah,
it's
he's
amazing
awesome.
that we've been able to keep him here.
I agree.
And the fact that that he loves Mississippi, his family is from here, is the only reason why we've been able to keep him. But that guy's doing phenomenal work, not just for the community colleges, but for everybody. And throughout the entire state. And the workforce development programs that he's designing and implementing to help the people that are coming to the coast, or they're coming to the state, the entire state, that need technical expertise and workforce development. He's able to help them develop the curriculum to be able to hire the people and to give the private sector the confidence that we can deliver the workforce that's required for all technology.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing to see the work that they've accomplished, as well as all of our other IHLs.
Next meeting, as you know, will be of the AI task force, legislative task force, will be held at his school, the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, and he'll be our host. The last one, caught you up there at Mississippi State. That was a great event. So we're digging into it, and I think good things will be produced for the citizens of the state of Mississippi out of this effort.
Yeah, and I must say I appreciate your work for that effort.
Sure.
And you understand it better than just about anybody in our state, and we need to tap the resources that are here to help us understand how to bridge what's required for the private sector, the financial sector, as well as what we can do for the public sector.
Appreciate that. It's a fantastic team. I think you guys did a great job in selecting members, and we're just getting cranked up. But again, our goal is to advise, as you know, the legislature on ways we can, as you were talking about earlier, utilize AI in government across the agency and public sector spectrum, but also maybe think about reasonable regulations is kind of the way I like to refer to it, that puts guardrails around the technology, but not so much that we impede innovation. We don't want to do that.
That's the main thing. We don't want to stifle innovation, but at the same time, we do have a responsibility to the public to make sure that there are ethical standards that are set, and that we monitor the use of AI, and we have a knowledge of what the vendors are using in cooperation with our state offices to better understand how they're utilizing AI and making sure that we protect the public and our taxpayers for
Absolutely. So let's talk public policy for a minute. You've been somewhat outspoken about the need for the Mississippi Department of Insurance to take some greater action to help out with the cost of insurance and availability of insurance, particularly in your district and along here on the Gulf Coast. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. Look, insurance has mainly been for many years, for 15 years, 20 years, has been a focus for coastal Mississippi.
Sure.
But because of the tightening of the market, this very complex issue has really spread into the Pine Belt and even into the northern parts
all across the country, honestly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But when we think about it from the regulatory perspective of the state of Mississippi, we are dealing with coastal areas with a high wind risk areas, and then you have inland Mississippi that is just dealing with a tightening of a market. So it's our job to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to balance out the needs to protect the taxpayers, protects the homeowners, protects the ratepayers. With the other side of this is we've got to balance the market out pretty well and understand what the industry needs to keep our market competitive. And what we have seen is that other states have been very aggressive with insurance mitigation, and we need to work on that. We need to do that. We need to do more. And I know that there's been a lot of a lot of conversations between Cheney and I over the years.
Insurance Commissioner Mike Cheney. And
I would say that the commissioner has been working towards getting a mitigation program. I really think that we're closer than we really are apart. And I was fortunate enough on night before last in Natchez to have dinner with the commissioner and his lovely wife.
Mary.
And they're his entire staff, and we had a really good conversation about this. We're going to continue to work towards it. It's something that we've got to do, not just for South Mississippi, but it's something we need to do for the entire state of Mississippi, and I look forward to being part of the solution for trying to help control those insurance costs.
So the Speaker of the House, as you know, has announced that his key priority in the next session is to enact some sort of school choice program. What has Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann, what has he shared with the senators about what his priorities are?
Well, his priorities have been, maybe I should say the questions that he's asked has been, what do your districts think? What are you hearing?
That's been his approach.
Yes, and his approach has been, from day one, has been, we don't want to prevent school choice, but there are some questions that need to be answered. And I'll tell you, here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, we've had school choice for a number of years. And the way that school choice has worked is that if you were living in Biloxi and you wanted to attend Ocean Springs, or if you wanted to attend Harrison County school districts or a particular school, then the districts have worked out whatever that local supplement is. And if you want to apply to go to a particular school, then the parent would pay that local supplement
as a tuition.
Yeah. And they work it out, and it works out really well. And I think that where a lot of the discussion has been missed is really on what the needs are and what the demand is for special education services. Early English learners. ELL is a really big deal. Across our state, and there are school districts that invest heavily with their local dollars to provide that, and there are people that want to clamor towards those type of school programs, and I think that's something that we're going to continue.
Senator Scott Delano has been our guest here on Middays. We got the final segment coming up next from Cruisin the Coast. Appreciate it, Scott.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Coming right back.
Think for a moment.
Okay, is everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Ready here. Middays with Gerard Gibert on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the final segment of Middays from Cruisin the Coast 2025. We are set up on a stage here on the Biloxi Town Green. Beautiful weather, beautiful vehicles, lots of friendly, smiling people perusing these classic automobiles. And I've got a great view just to the southeast here of my vantage point of the Gulf of America, shining in blue in all its splendor for sure. So appreciate Senator Delano coming on and talking about the legislative session upcoming and discussing his concerns about insurance. In this case, it would be homeowners and casualty insurance in the state of Mississippi. And I'm glad to hear that he and the insurance commissioner are sorting things out face to face. I think that is a good deal. So let's see on the C Spire text line. Thank y'all for helping me over the hump, says John from Hardeman County, Tennessee. Well, appreciate you letting us know that, John. It's been our pleasure. Tomorrow, we're going to be at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum, and that is for the Gulf Coast RV Park and Bakari Auctions. We were outside at the RV Park last year, but this year inside the Coast Coliseum. Looking forward to that. Something else related to this shutdown that is worth mentioning is that the president floated the idea yesterday that there may not be any back pay for those who are currently furloughed without pay once the government reopens and the funding flows. He's threatening no back pay for the shutdown's furloughed workers. Man, that would be something. And I think that he once again is trying to hang more liability on the Democrats for blocking the Republican CR, which would, continuing resolution, which would fund the government and get it back open. Again, that's the sensible thing to do. And discuss and debate in accordance with our process those issues which are separating the two parties. Primarily, that's, again, these enhanced subsidies in the ACA exchanges. And that's what's driving this whole shutdown. And it's got the government tied up, shall we say, tied up with not being open at this point. So there's lots of discussions about, okay, exactly how much would these insurance rates go up? And that's a controversial matter unto itself. I did a little research, but if you make, for example, 201% of the federal poverty level, which would put your income as an individual at roughly $30,000, your premiums right now are about $380 a month. And those would increase to about $1,600. $1,600. I misspoke. Let me start up. $380 a year. A year. They would rise to about $1,600 a year. So $1,220 annual increase, or about $100 more a month. So that's what's at stake here. Is folks would see a substantial, those that are enrolled in the exchanges and get their coverage from the ACA. That's what's really at stake here. Now, I think that one of the things that's being exposed here, Rhino, you talk about this all the time. I know we don't have much time left, but I think what this whole deal is exposing is the fraud of Obamacare. And I think that's what Democrats are all freaking out about, that it did not achieve all of its promises. I know you're shocked by that, but most people will tell you, yeah, my insurance hasn't gone down since the law was passed, and things didn't really get better. They got worse when government got involved. And I think the Democrats are seeking to avoid the embarrassment of what really is a failure in terms of what was promised from passing of that law. I know you're shocked that that's the result of government intrusion into a market, in this case, the healthcare market. Unbelievable. Well, we are out of time here today from the Biloxi Town Green for Cruisin the Coast 2025. We'll be at the Coast Coliseum tomorrow, staying down here, enjoying the beautiful weather and these classic cars. We appreciate so much you joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the show. From the Biloxi Town Green for 2025 Cruisin the Coast. Until tomorrow, stay safe and God bless everyone.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.